Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you. I'll sit next to you.
Should I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So my name is Andrey. I'm Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Business Development Officer at Ston.fi. Ston.fi is the largest DeFi swap application and protocol on the TON blockchain, TON. So it's, for those who don't know that, it's a native blockchain on Telegram or for the Telegram Messenger, which means that if you want to trade a TON-based token as a user, or you want to enable swaps for TON-based tokens in your application, you can use our product. You can use either our app as an end user, or use our protocol as a developer to enable these swaps in your products.
Thank you very much. And Merve, I know you'll be moderating today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Firstly, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. I am Merve, founder of Digix and a strategist in AI-powered Web2 and Web3 growth. That's all.
Nice. So let me take this opportunity to ask you guys a couple of questions while we wait for other panelists over here. Do you guys actually trade yourself? Do you actually do DeFi trading?
Sometimes I do, but since I'm in this industry, I know all the advantages, I would say, and disadvantages. So of course I trade daily because I need to do that in order to understand our product, all the other products, and so on. But I would say that when someone asks me if they should trade, I always say that you should be very cautious, learn all this stuff first, do your own research, and so on. So yes, I would say that I'm trading, but I'm not trying to encourage everyone to trade.
And we now also have Zabi joining us on stage over here from Bluefin. Please come up here.
Hi.
How you doing? Yeah, just take a seat. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. I guess I need a mic.
Yeah. And can you use that one?
I'm going to ask them. You want for who? Microphone.
Thank you, thank you.
So now introduce yourself. Now everyone can hear you.
Hey everyone, my name is Zabi. I'm one of the co-founders at Bluefin. Bluefin is a decentralized trading platform focused on perpetuals and spot trading. As of 1 month ago, we've also expanded into lending. We're actually built on the SWE network. We've been live there for about 2 years now. Our journey started about 5 years ago when we were initially more focused on the Ethereum L2 and Polkadot space, but we've since shifted then, and our focus is entirely on SWE now. Yeah, that's just a very quick intro from my side.
GM guys, and sorry for being late. Yeah, I'm Kris. I'm the founder and CEO of Scallop. And just like Lavi, good to see you. Scallop also built on SWE blockchain. We are a money market layer. We providing lending and borrowing, swap aggregator, PDP building tools, and we also have lending derivative, SDKs. Yeah, our goal is also try to build a solution of SWE DeFi, and then we emphasizing high transparency, security, composability, and best risk management. And yeah, and about my background, I was a cybersecurity guy, and then started building DeFi since 2021, dive into crypto since 2017, and then Scallop was founded at early of 2021, first on Solana, but in the middle of 2022, we started building on SWE. And then so far, we joined many hackathons, and then PVL keep growing, collaboration with SWE Foundation, and join some CTF, and some like SWE Build a House. And this afternoon, we also have a SWE Connect. So yeah, if you have anything related with SWE DeFi, you can check out Scallop. Yeah.
Thank you. We are starting. Hi again, welcome to the Istanbul Blockchain Week. Today we are diving into how on-chain agents, powered by AI and intent-based protocols are changing the rules of trading. One question. What do we actually mean when we talk about autonomous agents in DeFi? Are they just upgraded bots or something fundamentally new? Andrey, let's start with you.
Okay. So, first of all, I would say that yes, sometimes these agents technically resemble bots, but in terms of their how they are autonomous and so on, it's a different thing because, well, usually by design they do not use, I would say, predefined paths because agents is something that you provide with a goal or your intent, and this agent autonomously decides how to achieve this goal in an optimal or the best way. So when you use, let's say, a bot, like when you say bot, you think about a chat bot. Well, yes, an interface for an agent, it can resemble a bot, or it actually can be a bot, like a chat bot or something. But of course, under the hood, it is more autonomous, and that it defines like the best path. And to make things even more complicated, when we're speaking about not DeFi, but about all like the whole AI stuff, there are agentic workflows, there are agents, there are different types of how all these paths are organized, and depending on the level of like how they are autonomous, you can use different words for that. But to wrap it up, yes, no, agents and bots are not the same thing, although sometimes they look like the same for a user. But under the hood, agents are much more autonomous.
Perfect. Thanks, Andrey. Zabi, from the Bluefin point of view, what separates agents from the bots or smart contracts we have seen before?
Yeah, it's a good question. And the way I see it is that bots is something that we've had for quite some time now. And for us specifically, right, we have spot trading and we have perps trading. And there have been bots for a while that can help execute a number of these different tradings. And think of it as like single action executions. When you add agents into the mix, you now think of it as adding, a personal assistant, right? You now have a collection of different on-chain actors who start to understand your behavior as a trader. And based off of those, preferences, and these preferences can be, slippage tolerance, it can be risk tolerance, and a number of different, other parameters. They start to understand these and learn this and perform actions on your behalf based off of these understandings. And so now you have, a collection of different smart agents that can, understand what you are as, or what you prefer as a trader, and then execute, these agents on your behalf. And so I think the personal assistant example is a good one to keep in mind, because when you, hire a personal assistant on day one, it's very unlikely that that person is going to, understand your preferences. But over time, the more they spend time with you, the better they understand your hobbies, the better they understand your, flight preferences and a number of different things. They're going to be able to make decisions on your behalf more autonomously. And so you're now shifting the trust from yourself to that person. And you can look at, these smart agents or on-chain agents in a similar capacity.
Thank you. Great point. Kris?
Yeah. I will share my answer with the angle from an infrastructure builder. Scallop built two things. Like our SDK, TypeScript SDK, have two layers. One layer is interact with Sui itself. Another side is interact with Scallop. And then we saw two cases. Yeah, it's not only two cases, but I want to mention these two cases. First case is people using the first layer, the Sui kit layer, to maybe collect, using AI to collect some information like with from some news, media, KOLs, just everywhere. And then they just do some automation tradings. And then second is people using our Scallop SDK to management their own obligation, management their like lending and borrowing, or like just to repay or to borrow more. Yeah, I think just yeah, we can say they are bots, but this turn I think it will be too limited. I think it's just like Zabi said, it's you give your trust to something, a program, and then it's like copy the like consequences or like the vision of yourself, and then to make it automation, yeah, to make it automatically, and then it's like a new generation of like more complex level of the bot, because it's actually thinking and then like getting the data, like real-time data on the internet. So yeah, that is my feedback. I think it's not just a bot. It's like the intelligence is not a binary. It's a vector. I think these agents, they are smart. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you all. It's already clear that this shift isn't just about speed or scale, but intelligence and adaptability. Two questions. Intent-based protocols are becoming core to DeFi infrastructure. How do agents understand and act on user intent without craving decentralization or speed? Zabi, let's begin with you.
Myself? Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because it starts with the idea of understanding what it is that the user wants to achieve. And so, you know, when you think of bots, you think of single, like I said earlier, right? Single actions, right? I want to perform a swap. I want to perform a bridge. But with intent-based protocols, it's focused on understanding what the end goal is, right? And so a user wants to say, I want to achieve, 5% yield on my funds with a low to medium risk strategy, right? And so that's the end state. Now it's entirely up to these agents to figure out how it is going to achieve that goal. And I think just going, I guess, like building off of the previous example I gave, think of like a travel agent, right? I know it's been a long time since we've seen a travel agent, but when you go to a travel agent and you tell the travel agent, hey, I want to book a flight from London to Istanbul, you typically tell it, give me the shortest flight, or give me the cheapest flight. And so that piece of information right there is the intent, the goal that you want to achieve. It's either optimizing cost or optimizing time. And so in a similar capacity, after you leave that travel agent, you don't have to worry about the complexities behind the scenes that goes into making that happen. And it's all in the travel agent's hand. You've now passed that trust on for them to figure it out. And so intent-based protocols work in a very similar capacity.
Perfect. Kris?
I have a very bad answer and a good answer. Yeah, my bad answer is if you really want, like, it's very fast, and then maybe you should sacrifice the decentralized. Yeah, if you really care that much about the speed. But my good answer is, although it's not, you cannot use it for right now, but I know some teams, they are building some infrastructure that can solve this. What I'm saying is about Walrus. Yeah, now Walrus is a storage network. You can deploy a very big data or big like smart contract there, and you can even deploy a AI model there, and even some big data layer in a near future. Or I think right now it's still a little bit too small, but it's all scalable, and then all the validator have a good scalability. And then one day, I think maybe I would say in 1 to 2 years, maybe we can see somebody deploy a LLM model on Walrus and its logic on Walrus. And then if you really want a decentralized like AI agent, or like to read some on-chain record and have some like making some decision by these agents, maybe in 1 to 2 years, we can have a good solution by like some very big and scalability, have a high scalability Onchain storage network. I think it's my, yeah, it's my answer. But I think there might be other answers. I think most of my angle is started from an infrastructure builder side. We provide the SDK, but how users use AI to combine with this SDK, I think is so many opportunities. Yeah.
Excellent. Andrey, do you see instance models complementing liquidity engines or replacing traditional routing logic?
Replace? Do you mean that, is the question that agents will somehow replace? Well, you know, first of all, I would say that agents is not like the, well, it is a fresh thing, but it's not something that we have never heard about. Okay, so now we're speaking about agents a lot, but I believe that lots of institutions, they already use them. Because, well, probably sometimes for end users, these use cases are not so obvious. Well, they are obvious in theory when we say that, okay, so maybe I can use an agent, I can ask an agent, you know, please find some way to gain yield on my crypto assets, and that's what I have, and so on. In theory, we can understand that, and of course, there are use cases like this. And probably, currently, there are not so many actually use cases implemented. But if we're speaking about institutions, I believe that quite often they use these agents or maybe some agentic workflows or something like that, because basically we add, like, you know, crypto projects and so on. We basically use these agents, but we just don't call them agents, because there are bots. They can be more sophisticated bots and so on. So yes, strictly speaking, they are not agents yet, maybe, but still these are bots that are interconnected and so on. So I would say that it's not the question of total replacement of, you know, like traditional way to interact with crypto by the agents, but it is just the question of how different use cases will use agents, and to what extent, maybe something like that. So everybody will be using them to some extent, but the question is to what extent.
Perfect, thank you. 3 questions. Do autonomous agents improve capital efficiency and liquidity, or introduce new risks like manipulation, latency, wires, or front running? Chris, maybe let's begin with you this
Okay,
time.
I'll go first. For every new technology, it have like advantage and drawback, and I'm sure we will see some like maybe sniper bot for snipering some like AI agent in the near future, or like some NEV attack for some agent. Yeah, I'm sure it's like blockchain is too transparent, so I'm sure somebody will do these things. But I think it definitely will increase the capital efficiency. For example, maybe people put liquidity in Scallop, and then this user's is like habit is not checking his position every day. Yeah, maybe he have job or not that convenience for using internet. Yeah, but today we can, with the AI agent, he can just build an agent, copy his behavior, and then trust it, and then increase the trading value, or even like monitoring what his previous behavior, what his previous like favorite protocols, and then maybe become a AI agent aggregator for example, Scallop and Bluefin. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe these users always use these 2 protocols, and then the agent can like move his liquidity between this protocol to find a better yield. So trading value, capital efficiency, I think it will definitely help. And risk, definitely it will also come, like front run, sandwich, or even bug, or even supply chain attack. Yeah, based on my cybersecurity background, if you want to adopt a new technology, a new application, everything, especially is deal with your money, even like private key. Yeah, we should definitely do a risk management and then 100% just put the security in the first priority. But yeah, it definitely will help in many angles, especially for DeFi protocols. Yeah.
Thank you. Andrey?
I have forgotten the question again. Okay. What was that about? Sorry, the question?
It was about does DeFi agents help introduce capital efficiency
Ah,
to the
okay.
system,
Yeah,
or
sorry.
does it also introduce risks as well?
Yeah, sorry. Of course, there are these, well, actually both, right? So, of course, if there are agents that are able to find better ways to do something, and that's the whole purpose, right? So the whole idea behind that is that these like agents or agentic systems, non-human, can do things better than we can, right? So, of course, they will find better ways to, let's say, capitalize on your liquidity, to find yields, and so on. But at the same time, of course, there are risks because, well, first of all, I agree with you, and probably it'll happen that these agents, they will fight each other, right? Because currently, actually, they're doing that. Okay, we don't call them agents. Again, there are bots. Let's say there is a sniper bot, but then there is another sniper bot, or there is some kind of an anti-sniper bot, right? And there are like fraud systems, anti-fraud systems, something like that. They're fighting even now. When we're thinking about more automated workflows, more automated stuff, of course, they will find more ways to fight each other because they are not that predefined. And I think that's the first risk. The second risk is that I was thinking when I was watching I think that the last presentation, they were speaking about like the memory, and I was thinking, as a user, do I want some system to have this memory about me? Okay, probably it's not a problem because even now when I provide some system with information about me, it actually keeps it, right? But if this memory is leaked, then probably I have a problem, and also the company that produced this agent also have a problem because in this case, other agents will know how it works, right? And probably the last thing about the risks is that there are hallucinations. Well, okay, so hallucinations is the thing that we are talking about when we're talking about chatbots, not crypto agent and so on. But if these agents heavily rely, let's say, on some system that in theory can hallucinate, right? It'll mean that I, as a user, again, have these problems. And probably the last one, by the way, is the transparency, because there are always trade-offs when we're speaking about transparency. And in this case, if it's too transparent, probably there is a risk of data leakage or something like that. If it's not that transparent, then there is a problem for me as a user because I don't understand how it works. And in this case, I don't trust it. So yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Zabi, from a user perspective, what kind of safeguards or governance models should be in place to manage agents' behavior?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay.
Can you repeat it, please? Because the sound is not so good.
This question, do autonomous agents improve capital efficiency and liquidity or introduce new risks like manipulation, latency wars, or front running?
So it's the same question.
Yeah,
So it's the same question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're thinking from a risk point of view, a lot of the security attack vectors, and Kris is the security expert here, but even in like non-agentic environments, you know, a lot of those similar risk vectors apply here as well, right? Like you're still susceptible to different social attacks and a number of different risks. So I think the risks isn't probably the biggest problem here. I would say that, you know, just making sure that these agents operate in a transparent way where a lot of the actions that they do on your behalf in a trustless manner are, auditable, they're verifiable, and you have some oversight on what's actually happening. Because when you think of like capital efficiency, I would agree that 100%, these agents are improving capital efficiency, and maybe it's not there today, but that is ultimately the end goal, right? In TradFi, there's always a idea of, being completely hands-off with your capital, right? You can go to your financial advisor, you can go to your fund manager, give them, a set amount of capital, and then from there, they'll just manage everything. We probably don't have that same sort of peace of mind in trusting these agents today, but that is what we're working towards. And so capital efficiency is definitely improved, right? Like even some of the savviest DeFi traders or people who understand DeFi strategies, they don't have like a full scope of everything that's happening on one chain, let alone multiple chains. So when you introduce these agents and also these omni agents, which understand different strategies on different chains, you now have these actors who are working for you in identifying like the best strategies across like many different chains, many different protocols, figuring out like what is the best incentive pools to deploy in, and so it really just automates that entire flow, and it creates a much more capital efficient environment. But yes, the risks are there, and that's something that we're just going to have to adapt with over time, and I'm sure over time we'll see improvements.
So we are not just shifting power to machines. Next question. How close are we to agent-to-agent trading becoming the new norm? Will retail or institutional players adopt them first? Andrey, let's start with you. Maybe.
Both. I mean, like, no one is the first here because, well, these are different segments. They use them for different, these AI agents, or they will use them for different reasons. And as I said, well, or to be successful with the end users, retail market, and so on, it heavily depends on the UX. So it's like it is about the experience. Well, first it is about the use case, then it's about the experience, and probably we will see new approaches to UI over here, something like that, because, well, currently it's not quite often, it's not the best experience. But as for the institutions, they already use that. It's not that we are talking about that much, but of course they're using it, but the only thing is scalability. So for institutions, it's maybe they will those who will actually scale this whole, I would say, industry approach and so on. But I think that we shouldn't choose between retail and institutions because both do this or use these systems or will use them in the nearest future.
Okay, thank you. Zabi?
Yeah, I think Andrey's spot on, and I'm of the opinion that I think institutions one already have adopted this, but will continue to be the first adopters of a lot of these agent technologies. I think for retail to come in, it's probably some time because one, you're going to need out-of-the-box agents. So what a lot of institutions do is they focus on customizations, right? And so they figure out how to customize these agents to cater to some of their specific strategies or their needs. For agents to be much more adopted by retail, we're going to have to figure out how do you create it so that it becomes as invisible as possible. And by invisible, what I mean is like, it ultimately, like, you need to just tell it the goal, and then you don't have to worry about managing anything else, interacting with it. And so I think we're still pretty far from that. But once we get to that stage where they're much more ready-made agents and a number of different agents for different needs, then I think it's going to be much easier for retail to adopt the technology. But so I would say institutions first, retail second, And I think once there's a lot more out-of-the-box agents, then we'll see retail start to adopt.
My opinion is I have a common answer, but also have some part is different. What I see on chain is now there's so many bots keep trading there. I'm sure me and Zabi all saw many bots there. And then even these bots, they will trade with their each self. For example, two market makers, maybe they both use bots to deploy liquidity or trading, sending order on centralized exchange. They will maybe match the trade. So it's existing bot with bot trading. And then other bots, including, personally, I'm running another two kinds of bots, arbitrage bot and liquidation bot. Although it's not like bot with bot, but I'm sure this kind of transaction is taking a very big position in all of the overall on-chain transactions. And I agree that we are not there yet, but what I see is it will also very difficult to make that people realize, oh, now they are all AI agents, because currently there's many bots. How do you just make us realize at one moment that, oh, they are all agents? Maybe it will be like step by step, and then hey, now everybody is using agent to compete itself. I think this the story will be like this. And then about the questions I think it's parallel. Institutional and retail, but one of the key points is delay on the tech scale. And then for sure, institutional will lead because they have more resource. And then the retail will be a bit slower because resale resource and maybe teams is smaller, or maybe the environment make them don't have can go that fast. Yeah.
We might be witnessing the emergence of not just new strategies. Next question. Looking ahead to 2026, what will be the key metrics of success for DeFi trading? Maybe Andrey?
I think that this question becomes easier if we split intent and execution. So there is a user's intent, what a user wants to do, right? And the second part is how their goal is achieved by this agent. So, and when we split it like this, then the answer is obvious. For user intent is how good his goal is achieved, or even is it achieved at all? So that's I don't know, we can come up over here with a new term or something like, maybe there is one, I don't know, like how successful an agent was in achieving the user's goal. So I think it'll be the first metric, because that's the whole point for a user. And the second is execution. So in these terms, it'll be probably how good all the things are executed under the hood. I don't know the exact name. Maybe there are some. So it'll be something about that. Of course, there are, we can think about like latency or something like that. But I believe these are important metrics, but they are not like the key ones, because it is just something that we should have, because without this, it just doesn't work. So I would say that there would be like, some technical stuff like latency and so on. Of course, it'll be important. But speaking about key metrics, it'll be like making a user happy, first thing. And the second thing is how it's being executed in terms of transparency and so on for a user, something like that.
Yeah, so for myself, I definitely agree on transparency. I think that's one of the important metrics to keep in mind. I think reliability is another one. How reliable is this or how consistent is it in performing? Based off of what you feed it or the goals that you're trying to achieve. And so I think that's a pretty important short-term one. And then a more long-term one is like how hands-off are you as an end user? And so what that means is, when like the first time like self-driving cars came out, you know, everyone went crazy about like Teslas and a number of these other cars because it was so cool that you could finally, you know, take your hand off of the wheel for like, you know, a few seconds or maybe a minute without the car crashing. And eventually now we're getting to this like stage where we're seeing like robo-taxis and a lot of these other really cool autonomous cars that can take you from like point A to point B without having to, you know, even think about the idea of putting your hands on the wheel. So the end state, you know, from an adoption point of view is, you know, how much can you trust these agents to reliably and transparently execute whatever it is that you're intending to achieve. Even going to the extent of like, can you connect your, you know, Chase account, your bank account to some sort of like on-ramp solution to then, you know, deploy a number of different yield strategies across different DeFi protocols and for it to manage your capital efficiently. And if the answer to that is yes, and if it's very easy to do that, then I think, you know, we've seen adoption.
So do you mean that it's not just about transparency and reliability, but also about, how would you sell it, like about trust or something? Because actually, when you connect your bank account, right, you need to trust that system.
Yeah, so it's like, it's ultimately like the migration of, you know, trust from yourself to, you know, these agents. And that's what needs to happen, right? Because in traditional finance, you know, when you go to the bank and you give it, you know, let's say $10,000 and you tell these banks, okay, you know, manage this fund for me, you are trusting the bank.
Yep.
And so how can we go from that to now trusting these agents in a similar capacity to operate in, you know, environments that a lot of retail users don't know how it works, right? Like, think like very, very small percentage of people understand the concept of bridging, the swapping, and a lot of these other like, you know, DeFi actions. And so most of the users don't understand this, but can we get agents to a state where, you know, like the average user or, you know, my mom or someone else who, you know, has never touched DeFi can interact with it and tell it to take my money, do whatever you want with it. I just want, you know, 5% yield a year and that's it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, but we were talking about metrics. So I thought that probably some kind of, there could be a metric, some kind of like, you know, the level of trust or something, maybe something like
exactly.
that.
Kris?
Yeah, I think Andrey and Zabi all mentioned some great points. I think it's quite similar with DeFi, the early stage of DeFi. When people asking what will make DeFi like really get mass adoption. Yeah, key point including transparency, security, and then risk management, and then definitely you don't want it make you keep losing, or the technical security issue make one day is go to zero. And then I think other points I want to add up is two angles. Yes, and for me myself as an individual, I want an AI agent can do like as much like trading SAT as similar as me as possible. For example, I want this agent when I was sleeping, maybe some DeFi protocol got hacked, it will automatically escape, right? Something like that. How smart it is very important. How much the action it will be similar, like when you are really online using it, I think it's very important. And second angle is, if you are just a retail normal users or like a DeFi rookie, how much this agent, the strategy it make, the decision it make, the similar or same as the role model of myself, and then I want this agent to be the same with this role model. I want they be 100% the same or even be faster. I will have a random name to make a random name to be an example. For example, this AI agent is like Donald Trump Jr.'s AI agent. I want this agent, maybe even Donald Trump Jr. when he is sleeping, but this bot will do the same decision just like Donald Trump Jr. It will even be faster than it. I think just that's what the point I want to say is how similar for the AI agent is like making decision the same with its role model. How smart it is, how maybe flexible like another example I make, maybe it auto escape when there's a black swan, there's a risk. Like, yeah, I think this part is combined with the keyword that they mentioned, and then also add my point. This is my answer. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you all for this rich and forward-looking conversation. Enjoy the rest of Istanbul Blockchain Week. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.